You're living your life, live your life. Tell them what you go and mind your own damn business. You're living your life,
every one of you.
living your life.
Good morning, everyone. It's the second day of February 2022. Thank you for joining us. We are here this morning with you from the beautiful Diana. So, Sharon, yesterday was our first program, today's our second program. How are you feeling? What are the responses that you're getting thus far?
Well, I'm grateful. You're doing a program and you think people listen to the content. When they listen to the content, somebody messages to say they saw the secret thing. People look for their own stuff. And people have been saying too, it's a good green screen background.
Oh, I think I think the background is more functional more than anything else. I think can't be leaking into the green screen background.
Well, it could be animated. It could be an animated background. There's that too.
Welcome, Miss But there has been a lot of comments. I was following the comments online. Also, persons that have been texting, messaging, and so persons are very, very thankful, very happy to have the morning show. And I just know that that personally, when we have those positive feedback from you guys, it makes us feel good about getting up in the morning very, very early, making sure that our task at home is completed and so forth, so that we can come here and bring you the morning show. So it's great thus far. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Yep, guys, thanks for all of the support. We are tremendously privileged that you guys are here and that you are receiving us well. Somebody says we should start with a gospel. That's another story all by itself. But we're happy that you guys are receiving us loud and clear. Let us know how you're receiving the audio. Lola Greenwich and Roxanne Aaron, Rose Capel, and all the other folks who have joined us here. We are so privileged to have each and every one of you. And we made sure that we turned off. We double checked the sync. We double checked the sync this morning, right? Just to make sure everything is going well. And so you have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Well, we can just go right into our morning program. I know, Sharon, you have been following the so-called monarch, and I know that you're a major fan.
Yeah. That's what we were trying to bring up at the beginning of the program. Some of the we're going to be featuring some of the artists. What's happening with Monarch 2022, and the song we started the program with Jomo, and that piece is titled "Living My Life." I that resonated with me. Living my life. That resonated with me. Living my life. And the most extraordinary artist is in this business a long time ago. Jomo Big.
I know.
He big, but he's something. The good stuff.
Jomo, I've actually never met you, but I've heard rumors about you.
I live in my life. You should shut your mouth and mind your own damn business.
I have one day to was dubbed the rubber weight.
I was not.
Let us know. Everything works in Bartica. You got this monitor, this rubber weight. You know the girls in Bartica, the folks are a little different. So,
don't make them stress you out. Keep them emotional.
But not to distract from the issue at hand. Not distract from the issue at hand. The Pokemon are on, and those guys are turning out these hits, and this is living my life. Very, very
is your problem. Deal with it. If my progress is your problem, deal with it. If the reality is your problem, deal with it. That is your problem, so I can solve them. I don't give a damn what you want to say about me. I live in my life, living my life.
Yeah, and all the other folks who especially those who good luck to you guys. I am happy to see you alive and well and moving forward and getting the kind of respect that you deserve. So good luck with all of the things you have to do so far. quality
I
pieces,
don't care.
quality music, and I think
Yeah.
right up there. I think even beyond the Caribbean
Selector
standard of
Andre.
music and at that very international level. And that's the kind of artist that Jomo is on the whole, an international artist. And we're happy to hear this piece. Living my life resonates with me deeply.
Well, Guyanese, I dare say Guyanese are talented generally. We have a talented bunch of folks living in Guyana. Our young people are extremely talented. You know, even with the limited resources at times that we as a country that we utilize, persons still go out there, they give it their all. And when they're put at the test at the international level, you know, they can deliver on so many different platforms. So we're super, super proud of all the artists, everyone that has been contending in those departments. You know, we're proud of you. Continue to do the best you can. And we will be right there rooting for you, supporting you every step of the way.
Yep. Rose Capel was asking for us to lower the music. I hope we can do that. Ronnie is asking too. Says the music is too loud. So we want to make sure that we have that right, guys. We're going to fix it. We are going to fix it. But we just wanted you to hear what is happening in the soccer world. We want you to know that what is happening in the soccer world. So I think we may have stopped the music now. Good. So good to see all of you guys. Fiona Marshall and Karen McKay and Andrew Cuthbert, Michaela Webster, all the usual suspects. Is it Rosamond McLeod and all of you fantastic folks, wherever you're joining us from? You know, once you come on the broadcast, you have to share the live stream and you got to smash that emoji button as well. So while we're up with Jomo and, you know, we talking here and some people still looking at the background, looking at the cupboard, one of these plates real and all of that, you know. So when y'all come back, there is that. And Juita, on the other side of that light is to COVID continues to go up locally.
Well, the COVID numbers have not been treating the Guyanese well altogether. I know this is a more lighter show, so we're not gonna get into the harsh reason for those numbers, but we encourage persons to continue to stay safe, social distance, do everything necessary, take all the necessary precautions. And I beg parents, especially right now with your children going out to school, your kids not feeling well, keep them home. Don't send them out to school, you know. We don't want, we're trying to contain the virus as much as we possibly can. And we're just asking everyone to do their part. If your child is showing any symptoms of COVID, just keep them home. We don't want your child to be going to school if they're not feeling well for their own sake and further to protect other children that are in school. So let us do whatever we can to keep our family safe, and in turn to that ripple effect would be to keep the entire country safe. We have to do our part. We know that there's a lot of challenges, failures at the helm of the decision making bodies when it comes to managing that, but that's a story for another day. At this point, and for this particular show, I'm just asking persons to keep safe, do whatever you can, sanitize, mask up, social distance, avoid crowds as much as you can. It will go away. This is not something that we'll have to be dealing with forever. But when we do the best we can right now, we are fastly approaching that stage that we will all be able to socialize as we did before.
Yep. Well said. And with that being said, you know, we understand there is this movement, my body, my choice, and fully appreciate that. But if I were to give you some advice, I would say get vaccinated. I got my first dose, second dose, still here going strong. Even got my booster dose because you know we interact with a lot of people on a daily basis, and more than for me to protect my family, to protect the folks that we engage with too, because I don't want to know that I'm spreading COVID-19 to other folks. You know, we got the Delta variant, we got the IHU, we got the Omicron, and all of that. And I want to make sure that I am safeguarding those persons who are around me as well as benefiting myself. So if I had any advice, I say to you guys, get vaccinated, fully vaccinated. We understand that. I understand it's your body, your choice. Get all the information on the vaccines and all of that, and then I would hope that we all get vaccinated, and so that we can protect each other on that front. But it's interesting to see also what is happening in the region where COVID-19 concerns, and if we put ourselves on par with some of the other countries, how they're managing COVID-19, how vastly different all of that is working out. And while we're in the region, you know, in Brazil, they're gearing up for an election this year. And I think President Lula da Silva, former president, He is up for re-election. He has a third term bid. I know people hear third term, we get a little excited and so on, but Lula de Silva is vying for a third term in Brazil.
Well, pretty interesting. There was a whole lot of going on with the silver in the media as we were following, especially with the COVID pandemic and the way in which he was handling that. So I would love to see how this is actually playing out coming up to the elections. We need to keep closely following
Yeah,
this. We'll definitely be
yeah.
bringing you some news from Brazil. We know there also we acknowledge that there's a lot of Brazilians living in Guyana currently working also. So persons you can tune in. We
Guyanese
have
all
to shape
over.
up.
Guyanese all
We
over.
have to shape up on our linguistics
Yeah.
altogether.
So what that's happening in Brazil, and there was some contention that he might get some resistance from the army, but a couple of generals came out recently and said that they're willing to respect the ballot. There were some tremendous obstacles that was placed in his path, and at one time he was the most popular Lula Inacio de Silva was one of the most popular, if not the most popular president in the world. And so we're looking to see how this one shapes out. And while that's happening in Brazil, in Trinidad, on a very very sad note, a 21-year-old in Trinidad was found dead. I'm trying to find her name in my notes. But that being said, the circumstances why this one stood out for us is that just within the last couple of days, another young woman who was spending some time in Tobago with, I think, with a grandparent, was found dead on one of the beaches there. And so, it's very, very sad. Every death, I think, is Don John the poet says, diminishes me. And so here is this young woman, 21-year-old, a mother of one, and would have lost her life in Trinidad. Katisha Kojo is her name. Katisha Kojo, 21 years old, a mother of one. And again, according to the reports, she lived with a male companion, a close male friend, according to the news. And so again, some of the issues around the region, and just like us, we gotta bring down the murder rate and all of those things. Is
Yeah,
significant challenge for us still.
I definitely. But Trinidad in particular, I know we have persons joining us from around the world, diaspora all over the Caribbean. We have persons online that joins onto these programs, and we have persons from Trinidad that joins, and those persons would say, I personally have friends in Trinidad, and I was following. I think it's only last year when that young woman was kidnapped, and then her body was found, murdered, and those are some things that we see popping up in Trinidad.
A lot,
One
a
time,
lot, a
one
lot, a
time too
lot.
many, and it needs to be spoken about. We cannot have our Caribbean brothers and sisters losing their lives like that. As a community, we need to. The community of Trinidad needs to come together, fight it. I often say, Shara, that you can put so much, leave so much to the administration to do, but when it comes to things like crime, I believe crime needs to be addressed at every level. You need to address it from all the social platforms that you have. The community needs to have their community groups. The church have a place and a part to play in fighting and combating these crimes and all of that. So no one is exempted from actually combating crime. So we all have our part to play. If speak out. Someone is acting a little shady, speak out, report them. It's We have a civic duty and responsibility to protect each other to the best of our ability. So that's what I have to say about it. I hope that we don't have much more of those news coming out of Trinidad or any other country. It's very, very sad, and we
Yeah, yeah.
we sympathize.
And while all that was happening, there was a lot of contention in Trinidad with the commissioner of police and the government of the day. Him wanting to renew his contract was a big back and forth. That didn't happen. I think there's a new commissioner of police, if not an acting commissioner of police. But all that is happening while you have all of these kidnapping and gruesome murders and all of that. And it's really telling. It is really really telling what's happening there. And as you said, we sympathize with all of the families. Very young woman, 21 years old, young start living your life. Yet, Katisha Kujo, and our thoughts and prayers go out to our friends and family and loved ones. There. Yep. That being said, a little closer to home, a little closer to, and you know what? For those persons who are now joining up, joining us. We hope that you pull up your cup of tea, whatever you have for tea in the morning, or cereal, or whatever. I had bake.
An egg.
I'm happy to say I had a pot bake. We have some bacon eggs pending, and I'm having some coffee. I don't know what Drita is having.
I'm having coffee also. I'm not doing milk. I'm doing the creamer today.
Okay.
I didn't
Drita
have.
cup suggests that she woke up looking a certain way. She woke up this way.
I woke up. I woke up like this. It's very true. Very very true.
That being said, guys, we have pulled up a chair just for you, just for Brenda Braffett and Susan Washington and Paul Bourne and all you other fantastic people out there. We pulled up a chair for Laverne Harricher and Kelman Prasad. We pulled up a chair for Brenda Braffett, and that you guys spend this hour or so with us. And we're tremendously grateful for those of you who are joining. FYI, for your information, our new morning program. Thank you guys so much. Again, a little closer to home, we got in some trouble with ExxonMobil, especially the workers on the ExxonMobil oil rigs. They have been suggesting they're not being treated well. They say they have to eat a lot of leftover foods and that kind of stuff. I don't know the quality of the leftover food because, I mean, leftover food on the whole is not necessarily a bad thing. But again, it's the quality of the leftover. I'm not a leftover food person. I can tell you that. But I know lots of people. We don't call it leftovers. Leftovers is very European and North American. We say brought forward. we different. We different. And they've been complaining about that, about this, the treatment generally as workers. And I see that the ExxonMobil recruiters have been meeting with our local union and promising to work on this area. You know, when people think about ExxonMobil, it says big money. It's big money.
Listen, I'm not. I'm a little biased. Well, I'm severely biased.
To who? The Guyanese workers or ExxonMobil?
Well, obviously to the Guyanese worker. I Guyanese worker. This is Guyana. You work in here. We have a company here that is basically drilling the resources or oil resources from our shores, and the least we expect is for the Guyanese working on those vessels
Bring proper
to
thing.
be treated properly, and dare I say equally. We do not want to be sending our young men and women out there for them to be treated as less. That is not why we are here. That is not why we are even having oil drilled from our shores. So that's it's very serious. And what I could say further, I'm trying to pick my words very carefully right now, but if I dare say, I don't see where those talks will be going. Who is the minister responsible for labor?
Joe Hamilton. Just make it right. Just make it right. Just make it right. People deserve to be treated with respect. I mean, ExxonMobil is a multi-billion-dollar company. Come on, folks. Just get it right.
It's as simple as that. Get it right. We shouldn't even have a discussion like that.
Even leaving out the regime end and the PPP and so on. ExxonMobil or the ExxonMobil fund. Just get it right. Just get it right.
With that said, Sharon.
Respect and manners to all the workers on those rigs out there, keeping our flag flying high and doing well. Respect and manners to all you guys. Yep. That being said, we have that happening on the ExxonMobil front. I think it was Alan Fernandez who a couple of years ago I heard talked about how Guyana will become more cosmopolitan in the sense that so many nationalities live and dwell here, work here, and so on. And I see a lot of stories cropping up in the media about Venezuelan migrants, and they're two currently out there in the media sphere. One suggests that 20 Venezuelan women have accused cops of abuse. The cops at that time they were raiding their home for whatever reason, and the women are complaining that they were robbed during that raid by the police. And they're also complaining of abuse. And then on the other side of that story, there's another story out there percolating and circulating that juveniles, Venezuelan nationals, are among 4 persons remanded for stabbing a 16-year-old locally, and they're on an attempted murder charge. So, this is what we got to grapple with. All this is oil, the impact of oil and oil producing nation. You got different nationalities who come looking for work and for betterment and all that. And we know what's happening in Venezuela, but this is all that we have to grapple with.
Well, the plight of Venezuelans is well known throughout the world, and the truth is that we don't see the policies being put in place to actually deal with the amount of Venezuela that is coming over our borders on a daily basis. I dare say, we had one situation, if you would recall, in the latter part of last year when there was a team that actually went up, a team from the Ministry of Health actually went up to look at persons because there were reports of Venezuelan children that are malnourished and
Yeah.
so forth
Yeah.
in Region 1. And these are serious situations. And it was true that the evidence was there. Persons were basically living in large numbers under a tent. The living conditions is basically inhumane altogether, and that is what you're seeing. But when it comes to the police and the way in which they treat these persons, I had my own experiences with the police and the way in which they treat Venezuelans and Brazil, because I'm from Bartica. So traversing even from Bartica to Perica, you have to have some bit of interaction with the police. And I can tell persons out there, if they don't know you, if they perceive that you look a certain way. I was traveling and I was in the company of a Brazilian. And because of that, they perceive that I am a Brazilian also. Even at the point where the police stopped me and I presented my Guyanese ID card, I was faced with the question, where did you get that from? you know so it's a very touchy topic altogether, and I see a lot of abuse of the law being dished out to those persons of. But again, I must say, this is not a coverall situation, and there are persons, law there are police officers, and so that they just walk the straight and narrow path. I always have to acknowledge that yes, you have some bad ones within the bunch, but there is some phenomenal men and women in uniform that we have to acknowledge that they're not a part of these accusations.
Yeah, yeah. But on a larger note, I think I love the idea of this Guyana that's a melting pot. We all came from somewhere, like the US of A. Everybody came here from somewhere. Even the indigenous came from somewhere. If you trace back the history of the indigenous people, um, came from somewhere. We all came from somewhere. And I love this idea of this melting pot of cultures, of ideas. Eleanor Roosevelt said there's not a civilization from which we cannot learn. And I think we can learn from each other in so many ways. East Indians, Africans, those persons who come from Venezuela, those persons who come here from Brazil. And if you really check back during the early days of this country, a lot of folks came from the island for work here. That's when Guyana was really the beacon, in the Caribbean. Lots of folks came from other places. But again, we have to mitigate all of the other things, because we go to other places and do a lot of nonsense too.
Well, a lot of persons did come from other places, and I have to give a shout out to even my neighbors right there in Bartica. They actually the man, he actually came from St. Lucia, and we have so many persons there that they have contributed tremendously to building our community and our country altogether, and they migrated and they came here, and it worked out very well for them and their families. So now we have the all those cultures being fused together, as you're saying, in this melting pot in Guyana, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful culture
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it pretends to be a beautiful experience for all of us. I like sometimes we go different parts of the city. Here where we host our program from the national capital city of Georgetown in Guyana, and you see signs in different languages and Spanish and all of that. And he says, you
Yeah.
know what? The whole complexion of the country is changing, and that is the point that young Alan Fernandez was making. That very very soon Guyanese, because of the advent of oil, could be a minority in your own country. Because
Yeah.
again, we have a very small population, and we could see an influx of foreign nationals coming here to live and to work because of oil. And very shortly, you can see the whole complexion of this country change, because again, a lot of foreign nationals coming, meet some Guyanese, like Dave and the other guys in the background here in our show, and they marry out and so on. They get these foreign children, Venezuelan nationals, Guyanese nationals, all in one, and you got this whole melting pot.
Yeah, well, that's why we had an issue. Of persons would recall again. I just want to back it up. That's why we had an issue in the National Assembly when we were making those very points when we had those bills that were passed when it comes to the name change and stuff like that. When we were saying we cannot make things so simple, even with the NRF and local content in those things. When we were looking at those all together, we were saying that you need to be more specific when you're defining Guyanese and so forth because we know that our population last census we barely over 700,000 according to the last census. So what does this say to us about our number? How is it going to this whole new oil wealth, this new found resource? When we see persons start to come over to Guyana in by the thousands, what does it say to Guyanese that have been born and raised right here? You would go down the streets, persons could see that even when you were driving, you stop at a stoplight, you will see several persons that are even selling they're not Guyanese, they're
Yeah.
Venezuelans, they're
Go on the
Brazilians.
seawall.
Yeah.
Look at the stalls out there. Look at the offering.
That's true. So policies need to be put in
We
place to
melting, we
enable that.
melting, we melting, we melting. But it's good to have all of you guys here with us today. I see Alan Fernandez says he's hearing the music again. Petal Thorne is with us. Naomi Drucker is with us as well. All you fantastic people. Ronnie Paris says the music is back in the background again. So we want to look at that. Thanks, Ronnie and Suzette Washington and all you other folks who are joining us. Thanks for sharing the broadcast and smashing that emoji button as well, guys. That being said, we seem to be going back to a place where we used to be in this country. Drugs, 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 and more drugs. Just yesterday, and one of the things that's very symbolic of that is planes being found unidentified on some runway in some part of the country. A lot of planes being found with drugs or suspected of having carried drugs. I mean, I don't think we grow that plant where that cocaine come from, right? But we got all this cocaine that's always been shipped out, whether it's Belgium, it's being shipped out to the Netherlands, whatever the case is, it's just drugs and more drugs. And we've seen the advent of that more recently. We have seen the advent of that more recently. We have seen the advent of this more recently. Just yesterday, a plane was found. A plane was found. What is the area? You call the name of that area better, more elegantly than I could. And it's making some of the morning papers. I see even the Ministry of Home Affairs has put out a name of the press statement on the issue. You call the name better than I could.
Where are you looking at? Oh, Kuruduni.
Kuraduni, that's the name of the place. And they say it is 20 miles off of Kurpakari, right? And so
Yes.
this plane was this plane, unidentified plane was found there. They said that the propeller was off. And had it been on, it gives them an impression of where the plane came from. They look at some kind of mileage. Let me read a portion of what the statement said. The propeller was removed and placed under the aircraft. It is suspected that the aircraft is without key documentation, which will make it difficult to track the airframe, engine, and propeller time. All of this is mentioned in the press release coming out of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and there's just been such a profusion, a proliferation of these planes within the last few months. It's very, very startling.
Well, it's just we're going back to a period prior to 2015, and that's the truth. If persons actually go and they dig up those old newspapers prior to 2015, we would notice that that's what went on during those years. We found endless planes, and so I'm like again, I say I'm from Bartica. We had the airstrip there, we found a plane burnt out, just like that. So no no one could be identified as having any relationship to that situation altogether. And again, we come back to it, it is not coincidental. That's what I can say. It cannot be coincidental that now at the beginning of 2022 and throughout 2021 that we have seen a surge in these particular instances and issues rising again. It cannot be coincidental because we have seen it prior to 2015 and here we are once more seen it again. So there is no
Yeah,
coincidence.
yeah,
You look at the common variables.
yeah.
They're saying.
And it was when you had the WikiLeaks, the advent of the WikiLeaks era, and those State Department missives going from the local embassy here in Georgetown, the American embassy that is, back to the State Department. This country was characterized as a narco state. It was characterized as a narco state, and periods in our history and our governance was characterized by that. A lot of drug trafficking. However you guys want to parse that, however you guys want to parse that, Carlton, Bethany, and JD, however you guys want to parse that, periods in our nation's history has been characterized by a lot of drug run-ins. And we've been doing some of our homework here, and we have a graphic that shows just in the last few months how many of these planes have been found with cocaine. How many of these mysterious planes have been found? I mean, we don't have a national flag carrier, but it seems that we seem to have a cocaine airways, the unofficial flag carrier of this country, and quite a few of them, quite a few instances in which these planes are being found mysteriously. Whether you have it at two planes were found in September 15 of 2020 with cocaine at Kuyuni Mazruni in the Region 7 region,
Yeah.
at a place called Isano. Right?
Isano.
Isano. One plane was found crashed there, and it was argued that the other plane was perhaps coming to rescue those guys, and cocaine was found there. You had in November 5th of 2020, you had the Belgian police who seized 11.5 tons of cocaine in a shipment from Guyana. 11.5 tons, that is 23,000 pounds
Yep.
of cocaine. February 15 of 2021, you had this boat with dead people. A lot of rumors were surrounding how these people died. We never found that boat. We never found that boat. It was spotted in Guyanese water. The boat had no engine. It had dead people. We mount a huge search and quote unquote rescue. Never found the boat. Never found it. By May 21st, 2021, you had a foreign aircraft with over 1,000 pounds of cocaine again crash landed at Oriala in Region 3. Again, folks, this
Region 6.
Region 6. This seems as though we have an unofficial flag carrier. This is Cocaine Airways. That's the national flag carrier that we have. And then by June of 2021, a burnt out illegal plane was found at Bisuruni. Right? This is an area in Region 10, believed also to be involved in illegal activities. Folks, we don't have a national airline. We don't have a national, and all of these planes, in almost every region. By August 14th of 2020, Caribbean Airlines was intercepted in Miami with cocaine weighing 3 kilograms or 6.5 pounds. Again, the flight originated from Guyana with cocaine. By November 4th, two foreign nationals, a Colombian and a Venezuelan, again were nabbed with a small plane during an emergency landing in Region 8 at Madia. Cocaine was found on this plane, and a magistrate was recently reprimanded for releasing on bail the two men found with this plane with the cocaine because it was so much coke and was just a minimal bail. And the magistrate's name is slipping me now, but was recently, as in within the last month, reprimanded, and the High Court overturned that decision to place these men on bail. And then by December 1st, 2021, the Netherlands intercepted 1,100 pounds of cocaine in a shipment of rum. This rum and coke. Right? Rum and coke. Them boys in Netherlands say we want some of y'all rum and coke. We hear y'all got nice rum and coke. But them boys had a different thing. Them boys said 1,100 pounds of cocaine to the Netherlands. And then we had the ships from planes now. We got to ships. 3 containers of arms and ammunition, right, was intercepted in Senegal. 3 containers of arms and ammunition intercepted in Senegal. And then we had in the South China Sea. In the South China Sea, we had this ship trading in illegal fuel from Iran in the South China Sea there. And then just yesterday, this other plane found in this very special region in this country. Again, they didn't find any coke on the plane, but the plane was hidden under some branches and so on. So we know what's happening there. We know what's happening there. Do you know?
Well, it's nice that you can actually bring the statistics because a lot of times on persons, people tend to have short memory span when it comes to these things. So that's the whole reason bringing the information. This is a program FYI for your information, and as you highlighted there, that's 10 instances of extremely serious things going on in our country.
Yeah.
And what do we have? And the thing what we need to look at, I think what's most alarming is the lack of conclusions on these matters. We have no conclusion on any of them.
Yeah.
We were yet to find out what happened with the very first one that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
We don't know. No answers given to the people of this country. This is the lack of transparency is ridiculous. Persons in Guyana, persons deserve to know what is going on. But I dare say that when we have these things going on, there are certain accompanying actions that come with them. And you see right there, guns being shipped.
3 freight containers.
Guns being shipped.
Not 3 butter bowls. Freights.
When you have a country in which you have drugs passing through, you can expect equally for the crime level to start escalating tremendously. And we have lived through those periods before. I mean, I was just a little child for a lot of those parts, but we lived through it. Persons saw what went on. For a lot of persons lost family members
Gunning
during
down
that
and-
period.
Yep.
We cannot afford to go back to that state
Yep.
of an economy. This is 2022. We should be moving forward, but we, by all intents and purposes, we moving backwards. Everything that happened prior to 2015 suddenly is happening again. But now it's at a greater magnitude. I think the cocaine bust was the largest ever. Not in Guyana.
23,000 pounds of cocaine. How much cocaine is that? 23,000 pounds, 11.5 tons of cocaine. That's a lot of cocaine. That's one shipment. That is just one shipment. And you know what is starting there for other folks watching us, Tanya Cummins and Brenda Braffett, Wendy Ogle and Felton Hosanna. This is just planes and ships, two boats. We talk about the amount of cocaine that got intercepted through the airport. Cocaine in Corla, cocaine in Pelori, cocaine in Saltfish, cocaine in Lumber. We didn't talk about that. We just pulled a couple instances of over the last few months of planes mysteriously found landed somewhere in this country with cocaine or suspected with cocaine. Right?
But even to those little instances that Cher's referring to, with that you have these little busts at the airport, the cocaine being found in the ports and the coral and those things. I was looking at this program. I can't. The name is slipping me at the moment, but it basically speaks specifically about cocaine being busted by persons in the airport. And they were making the point that a lot of times when they have large quantities of drugs that they need to pass through these drug dealers, these cartels that they need to pass through the airport, they will set somebody up to go and carry a little package of cocaine through it, and then that person would be used as the distract. So when that person's been busted, oh my God, this woman have a little bit of cocaine in her purse, then you have the real shipment being shipped out alongside that. And that is something, that's not me saying that, that's the expert. Those are the persons that actually work in that department. And there was a Guyanese that was actually featured. I believe you had run that story also, when the Guyanese man was actually caught taking cocaine to the US. And that program is very informative. Persons are being warned, a lot of times, things very difficult in Guyana. Persons may come and they try to ask you, just take this little piece, you're going to be okay. And you can strap it here and strap it there, wherever is it that they advise you to strap it. And then you are being literally set up so that they can pass through the huge shipments of cocaine through the very airport.
Well, some folks have come to the conclusion they ain't carrying nothing to the States for nobody.
Yeah.
They ain't care if it's family. They ain't care who. I ain't carrying no saltfish. I ain't carrying no achar. I ain't carrying no tennis roll. If y'all want them things, come home. And now the beauty of it, that you got lots of Guyanese stores now. in Queens and Brooklyn and so forth, in Atlanta, that sell those stuff. You get your Bakewell bread, so you don't have to carry those stuff anymore. People are so scared because of this whole thing here. But beyond this, we gotta decide what kind of country we want.
Yeah.
And this is budget period, decision making, what we're gonna be spending money on, what kind of country we want. And are these monies being spent well? You got a big budget, I'm certain, for home affairs,
Yes.
right? But is it curbing cocaine shipment? Is it curbing the guns and ammunition? Mind you, none of these instances here, especially with the boats,
Yeah.
were our government informed us. It always took a foreign authority to says, we got one of y'all ship here. It always took a foreign authority. They seem to be not up to date with what is happening. But that being said, the policies that we make in the National Assembly must affect this stuff. Right now there's a bill in a select committee in the National Assembly for legalizing certain amounts of marijuana, ganja. We say free up the weed, right? That's what we are fighting with. Countries have gone ahead of us. I saw, I think, Dominica or St. Lucia recently shipped out a whole set of medically graded cannabis and so on. Because time and science has overtaken the discussion
Correct.
that we're having, right? But a man who has 3 grams of marijuana, he done gone to jail. He's found today by Friday. He's spending 3 years, 4 years in the lockup. But the man who's shipping 11.5 tons of coke, we don't know who he is.
Yes.
Right? Who is the man who they bring in, or the people who they bring in the 3 freight loads of arms and ammunition? Right? When is their day in court?
Nameless.
Right?
They don't exist.
That's the point I'm making. We have to decide the kind of country we want, and then we meaningfully engage each other at the National Assembly in terms of getting the right policy, getting the right legislation to make that happen.
I know that you mentioned the whole fact that we have this bill of the
We've
select-
lost our money here.
we mentioned that. I want to just enlighten persons about one situation and the experience I had about a young teacher that actually was incarcerated, a young teacher that was actually incarcerated for 3 grams of marijuana. And he went to jail for 3 years. He went to jail for 3 years for that, He was taken away from his family. He was the sole provider for his wife and children. He was taken away from his family. He was going to school. He was teaching. He had an exemplary track record when it comes to everything else. But there he was being incarcerated for 3 grams of marijuana. So the social impact, the social implication that those things have, it is tremendous. It is unforgivable, I basically say. For you to incarcerate a man for smoking 3 grams of marijuana, mind you, and I dare say the cigarette is more dangerous. And you can have persons just all over, just smoking cigarettes as they very well please. And you're incarcerating persons for marijuana. But you rightly said that the world has gone ahead when it comes to how marijuana cannabis is being used altogether. But in Guyana, we are miles behind in actually getting up to the 2022 level of the world when it comes to how marijuana is being utilized. Because if we could to be quite frank, those things are actually once you regularize these things, it puts the country in a better position to monitor altogether. The only person that is being incarcerated right now is the 3 gram marijuana. Oh, you're found with a joint, as they call it. You're found with a joint, you're incarcerated. But if there are actual policies put in place, and with that bill, once it goes through and the regularization comes into play, then the government will actually be able to track persons who are shipping it in large quantities right now. So there's a benefit there. I dare say there's an economic benefit to actually regularizing that market altogether. But again, we're still waiting on that. So
Yeah. And Twitter, as you said that, I want to circle back to something that you would have said yesterday. We were talking about the city and the blaming for the cleaning up of the city and all of that. And what I saw recently, I saw after the city persons would have been helping clean up the city. It said somebody dumped some garbage somewhere, and the police were going after them and searching for CCTV cameras and so forth. I would like to see, while that is right and good, you break the law, you must face some penalty for that. And I encourage that. Want to see the same fervor in going after the folks who shipping 11.5 tons of cocaine, 1,100 pounds of cocaine, and going after these folks the very same way, and they must face justice just as swift as the man who they found with 2 grams of cannabis and something like that, and they must be harassed by the law the very same way.
Well, let's give them a simpler task.
I have a dream.
Let's give them a simpler task. I want to see the same way in which they're going after the man that put the plastic bag with garbage. The same way I want to see them go after these guys that is being reported on the motorcycles, robbing people at gunpoint and at knife point. Let's give them a simpler task. Let's achieve that as we persons need to be able to walk out of their gate and into their gate without having to face that. So the same diligence that is put into looking for someone that is dumping garbage, we just kindly ask. I don't think it's too much to ask that very diligence be put into capturing persons that are robbing people at gunpoint and at knife point.
Yeah, and let me circle back to the garbage again, because there's the other side of that. Is our civic responsibility to be responsible for our refuse, to be responsible for our garbage. You eat your stuff, hold that piece of paper with you until you find a garbage receptacle. It's been too commonplace. You are in a vehicle at the back of another one, and then you see somebody throw a bag out the window. Hold that with you until you must get your garbage bin at some point in your journey. When you get to your destination, we too have a responsibility as citizens to be clean. We go to those first world countries.
I was about to come to that.
Lots of those folks watching us, and we comply.
No, I was just about to go there because the truth is that Guyanese looking at us right now from the diaspora, that as soon as that plane takes off, Sherrod, all that bad behavior is left right here. And they get to the airport in the US, they go to JFK and they come off. And those same people that would take the garbage and throw it to the side of the streets in Guyana, they're looking all over for the trash can.
My God, this place is clean.
JFK.
My God, it's so clean here.
We have a responsibility to project the same level of respect that we show to other countries when we are at home in our own country. It is only right. It is our responsibility to make sure that we keep the place clean. We keep our homes clean. We keep our yards clean, and by extension, we keep the streets clean. It's not so much to ask when you do think about it, because you out there, and you know yourselves, you out there, as soon as you leave these shores, you suddenly have the inclination to go searching for those trash cans and those garbage bins. So, Sharon, they know better.
They fall in line. They fall in line. And guys, some of we wicked, let me put it simple. Some of we wicked, some of us wicked. And that is why the police have to look for y'all on surveillance camera, come after y'all, name and shame y'all, and all of that. Or we can take responsibility, right? If we don't take it, then the law got to take it. The law got to take responsibility for us. So why don't we exercise that little thing and try to be tidy people? Try to be clean people. You go on the seawalls, you have a nice time with your family. Do that. We need to get out sometimes and get some fresh air and have recreation and get some fun and so on. But you go and you eat all your things from your fast food places. Oh, let somebody be like the designated driver, the designated person who will clean up after us. Carry a nice little garbage bag and take your stuff with you. Or move from the seawall over the road with a garbage bin and put the thing inside. We got to be responsible. Become the change you want to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi, become the change you want to see in the world.
We all have our civic duty and responsibility. I think that's a good
Paying your taxes, correct. Keeping the place clean, civic responsibility.
Oh, well, let me just say that. I'll just say this also, not because you're paying your taxes give you a right to litter. that's not how it goes. Not because you pay your taxes, you should be littering because you're paying taxes, and so the city have a responsibility to come now and clean up whatever mess you make. That's not how it works. And again, I make the reference and the comparison to persons in the US. So when the Guyanese leave and go there, they would pay their taxes, but they know, and the garbage collection there is even way more structured. So now they can't even put garbage in a wrong bag. They have to sort it out, make sure it's in the right bag. And the very Guyanese, my
Yeah.
relatives and friends would go there and they would sort it out. You know why? Because they will be fined if they do not comply. So that about spells it out. So we know you know better. We know you know how to do it better. So we're not gonna be taking any excuses for that. Yes, we love each and every one of you, but we're asking you to like tighten it up when it comes to keeping the place clean and do not litter the streets of Guyana.
Yep. And with that said, FYI, parliamentary sitting continues today. The debate in the National Assembly over the 2022 budget continues, and I think I see a lineup of speakers that includes you,
Yes.
Georgia. I see Viceroy Jordan, Director of Finance. I see Coretta McDonald. I see Maureen Philadelphia, Dr. Nicolette Henry. I also see, I think, Jaipal, Jai Prashad, MP Jai Prashad is here as well. And Jyoti, your eyes are better than my own these. I'm trying to bring it up on my phone, but I'm not. So, folks, that's continuing starting at 10 o'clock this morning, and we know some of you have been tuned in, but we commend the broadcast to you guys. Listen to the arguments, listen to what's happening. This budget is going to impact all of us, folks. All are involved, and all are consumed. The policies that are going to ebb and flow from this budget is going to impact all of us, and we should be part of the discussion and part of the debate as well. So that is coming up a little later on in the morning at 10. The debates recommence. The sitting of the National Assembly, the Artichoke Conference Center continues.
Yeah, I think one person was missed out when you were giving the lineup, and we have our Region 8 MP Richard Sinclair. He's
Richard
also
Sinclair.
going to be giving his presentation today. So, and our closing person would be Dineshwar Jai Prashad. So that's our lineup indeed. I would be the second speaker for the opposition side of the house. I'm coming in as the third speaker for the day. We have Vince Roy Jordan. Then we have Siraj that is coming from the PP side, and I will be following him. So
Give us some of the names of the PP guys too. I don't want to be that sure, who
Yeah.
focus only on what one side doing. If we're talking about one Guyana and inclusivity, I want to know everybody. So, but these are names I have at my fingertips here.
yeah, but I can actually give those names because the way in which I mean the right way for us to have any parliamentary debate should be for the government to go and give their presentations and the opposition to come and basically scrutinize or rebut whatever the government is saying. But we do things different in Guyana.
We're different. We're
So,
different.
so we're gonna have today Vince Roy Jordan starting us off, and then we have Siraj from the PP. He's gonna actually come and speak after Vince Roy. So basically, he's given an opportunity to refute what the opposition is saying, as opposed to the opposition being able to refute whatever the government is saying. My presentation will be followed by none other than Deodat Indar, and Indar does get a little upset, so he's going to be getting all mad and trying to shout down and so forth. But you're going to see that for yourself. Then Coretta McDonald is being followed by Lee Williams. And Lee Williams, I know him. He's from the Upper Mazaruni. Maureen Philadelphia is being followed by Ms. Veersami. And then we have Nicolette Henry is being followed by Priya Manichan. So you would know that Nicolette Henry, she was a former Minister of Education. Priya Manichan is a current Minister of Education. So when Nicolette Henry is finished with her presentation, Priya Manichan is going to come in and she has the opportunity there to actually scrutinize what Nicolette is saying. Richard Sinclair, like I said, our Region 8 MP, he's going to be followed by Dr. Tandika Smith. I think she's in Region 3, if I'm not mistaken, Tandika Smith. And then our MP Dineshwar Jai Prashad will be followed by Dr. Vishwa Mohadeo, and I share would report to him.
Dr. Dildo
Dr. Dildo.
took a literal dildo to Parliament as part of the props. Part of his props the last time. A literal dildo. Interesting, interesting. Looking to see what happens this year. What he brings out of his tool shed this year. Looking to see. But you
Oh
know,
my God.
our colleagues in the house, some of them are fairly decent people. Some of them. We happen to disagree with them sometimes on how they go about trying to manage this country. And we've been telling them there's a better way, but they're hearing. They're hearing. That's why we see the cost of living going up, crime going up, and all. They're hearing. But some decent people on the other side,
Siraj
right?
is pretty decent, you know. I mean, I sit with him at the level of PAC, and he hasn't shown me anything adverse to that as yet. I don't know if he has a history that I don't know of, but so far
We're gonna be watching
he
them.
is silent.
We're gonna be watching them and scrutinizing their arguments. But that being said, FYI, all for your information. For your information, good to see you, Tanya Cummins and Diane Gravesandi. Good to see you, Laverne Haricharan, Kelman Prasad. Good to see you, Orindon Cook, Shanet Sicharan, Mohan. Wow, a lot of names. Selena Fraser, how are you doing? Selena, thanks for the thing. Marilyn Thomas. Selena is joining us from Waterloo, Canada. Siobhan McDonald and Dan Graves. And again, Roger Norris. All you folks who make the programs as special as yet. These programs are there because of you guys. You guys make it special. And we are available at all of, because we're an affiliate program of the In the Ring program, we share all of their contribution platforms. You know, these programs don't run on water. Unfortunately, we have the Cash App facility available for you guys to contribute to keep our programs moving forward. We got PayPal, we got Zelle, we got MMG. We are also available via MoneyGram and Western Union as well. If you guys need any guidance of this, the phone number you want to message via WhatsApp is 627-6963, and we're going to give you some guidance how you can be a part of what is happening, how you can contribute, how you can partner with us. That being said, Julie, we head now into the National Assembly.
Head into the National Assembly. So again, I encourage persons to join the debates, listen.
Inevitably, we're parliamentarians. We are not here because we're parliamentarians, but
we
incidentally, we're parliamentarians, and we have that work to continue as well. Good to see
It's
each
people's
and
work.
every one of you, the people's work, your work, the people's work. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you guys pulled up a cup of tea with us, a cup of coffee, you know, and you are easing into your day. Great to spend this time with you. You know, more about beginning to look forward to these early morning hours with you folks. We're going to be back at 12 below the belt, and then back at 8 in the ring.
And followed by tomorrow once again at
8, 12,
p.m.
and 8. 8, 12, and 8.
Have a good day, guys.
Yes. Thanks for
Great
joining
morning.
us.